Hey everyone, thanks for joining. If you hop on here, say hello so I know that you're here, but before I get started, I do want to share this with my group, but as it says, what happens when you feel, right? Because who wants to feel? And especially, the feelings when it comes to feeling anxious or nervous or fearful or sad or any of those ones that just sort of can bring you down a little bit. No one wants to feel that stuff, but I wanted to talk today about it because it's super important in breaking free from this food obsession. So let me share this real quick with my group and then we'll get going. All right. Let's do this. So, now, this was coming up for me recently, and I see this all the time come up in my group and also, with the clients, because we tend to want to avoid feeling or sort of deflect away from it, suppress a lot of these things because no one wants to feel it. So we can turn easily to food to do that job for us, so to speak. And it's not helpful. It really keeps us stuck. It really doesn't get us anywhere. So when I talk about feeling, this came up for me yesterday. So, and I don't know if you are all aware, a couple of months ago, my husband and I have been trying for a little one since June, but a couple months ago I was pregnant, but then I had a miscarriage. And the last couple of months have actually been a little bit easier than I thought. Super sad, obviously, because we were expecting to bring a little one into the world next year, but that has since not been happening. And I actually, the last couple of months when I was going through this, because it took my body how long? At least a month or more for just, the miscarriage part to actually fully happen. And then I was told that I really should have, a period first and then I can try again. So recently it could have been coming up that I actually may have been pregnant again, and it turned out that I wasn't. So those feelings came back again, and I was yesterday very just sad, mainly because I was hoping for something that didn't happen. And then I was remembering that, okay, so now, it's my period, we can try again next time. But then I was remembering everything beforehand, where every month that it was happening, or I thought it was going to happen, it was very depressing and disappointing each time it didn't happen. And then guess what? It did. But it didn't work out. And the feelings that went with it were very overwhelming and anxiousness. So yesterday, I was in a pretty bad funk. I was trying to fake my way through it by sort of not feel some of this stuff. And I was wanting to go back into some of my old habits where I would tend to restrict a lot. And I wouldn't want to eat, mainly because I was trying to avoid and be more in control. For me, having to feel some of these feelings was very out of control-esque, because I didn't know what was going on and I didn't want to feel them, because no one wants to feel that stuff, right? So last night when I was going to bed, my husband always comes to bed later, I just cried. I cried for a long time, mainly because I was finally letting myself feel. I really did. And it was this huge release. And I wasn't wanting to do that the entire day. I don't know if in my mind I was trying to be strong and I didn't want to have to deal with questions, if my husband was asking me about it, or whatnot. But I finally felt the sadness, the anxiousness, the overwhelm, because in my mind I'm starting this process again. And we are starting it again to not know what's going to happen each time. And we can easily get consumed in the past, and we can easily get consumed about what the future holds. And it's usually the fear of the unknown, right? So for me, right now it's the fear of, well, what's going to happen next? Like, is it actually going to work? Is it not going to work? If it does work and we do get pregnant, then I consider well, am I going to have another miscarriage? Like, is it actually going to go to term? Like, things like that. So we can easily start to overanalyze, right? And those feelings can really bring those on, and that's why we tend to sort of suppress them. Turn to food, right? Food is a mere expression of what's happening within. So if we are feeling very uneasy, overwhelmed, anxious, things like that, we're going to portray that out in food. And everyone is very different on what they do, but you can easily restrict the calories, things like that. You can go into the binge eating, overeating, over-exercising, whatever you choose to do to try and control that and have that expression. That's going to be individualized for you. But I wanted to talk about this today because I was thinking about it, obviously, last night while I was crying. And afterwards, like I said, it was like this release. And it really brought me back to thinking about how it was when I was trying to overcome, way back when, my food obsession. And it completely relates because this happens in every area of our life when it comes to feelings, right? So many a times when I was trying to break free from my food obsession, I didn't want to feel things, right? Like, it was very overwhelming and very anxious because the fear of the unknown, the fear of weight gain, it is a huge one. It's like a huge one for most, is the fear of weight gain can easily keep you stuck, and you can easily sort of start to obsess and overanalyze about what's going to happen in the future because you don't know what's going to lie on that side, right? Like, you don't know if you're going to gain all of this weight by being able to eat the foods that you want to eat, or if you are less strict with yourself, or you take away a lot of these rules that you have set for yourself. You don't know what that's going to look like. And you can also remember back in the past, like maybe you were overweight and you lost weight, and you remember how that didn't work, but now you're here, but now you're sort of obsessing about all of these calories and trying to maintain what you have and are fearful of what's going to happen in the future. But you can also remember what it's like back when, and for me too, I lost a lot of weight and I was very underweight, but I was very scared of what it was going to look like if I let myself eat the things that I wanted to eat. And that fear of the unknown is a huge one to keep you stuck. But when you can feel these feelings and you understand where they're coming from, that is key. And I'm getting distracted because the sunlight's coming in and it's like a huge spotlight. So I'm sorry if it looks like I'm pale as can be, which I am, but not this pale. And if I move, it doesn't really help. So, I can go this way. This way is a little bit better. It's a huge thing. So when I talk about feeling, right, like what is it like to truly feel? And it can be different for everyone. We tend to not want to feel these things. So yesterday I didn't want to feel sad. I was very sad. I didn't really want to feel it. But I finally did at night, and it was huge. And a lot of times we have to just take these step by steps. And when you can live in the moment, right, that is huge as well, because a lot of times we tend to not live in the moment, and that's where we start to obsess about the past and we start to obsess about the future. But if you live in the moment, a lot of those feelings aren't even warranted yet, right? Because we're already obsessing and scared about what's happening or going to happen in the future. It hasn't even happened, right? So we have to be able to try to help ourselves out in some of this and just live in the moment. So some of these analogies that I really like to use is when you go, say you're walking through the woods, come up to a stream and you want to get to the other side, and you can see that there is a bit of distance between you and the other side, and it can be very daunting, right? Like you could, if you really wanted to try, take a run for it and leap across and hope that you actually get across it, right? Like you could easily then miss it and go into the water. You could hurt yourself by jumping that far. Like there's a lot of things that could happen that would not actually let you land on the other side of the stream, which in life would be your goals, right? So instead, you could take it one little step at a time and take one step and find a little rock in there, and then hang out for a little bit. When you're ready, try and find another one, and then take these little steps to get you to the other side. And that is an easy process and a simple one to take to be able to make these sort of feelings and goals seem way more doable, right? Like I had to do that so much in order to break free from my food obsession, because anything that I thought about, especially in the future, seems so overwhelming and such a huge and far off thing that it was very hard to even think about it, so to speak. So by taking little steps, and this could mean very simple things to help you. Oh, the sun, man. The first one, so say you have a lot of fear foods, right? Instead of just like having one massive meal of all fear foods, you could, oh my gosh, the light. Does it work? Can I get it? I'll just have to be way back here. We're moving. All right. You could just do one item, right? You don't have to have this massive amount of food on your plate that is entirely provoking anxiety, right? You can have little things. There's a lot of different things that you can do to sort of jumpstart these little baby steps, because in the end, the baby steps do matter. A lot of times we are trying to find like these massive glorified moments that are like huge beyond belief, that are in our mind measurable, because the little things seem so not apparent. But the little things are what is going to build up and get you to that goal, which would be the food freedom, right? Like, we don't want to have to be obsessed with this. We don't want to have to, miss out on so many things in life because we are consumed by these thoughts of food. We really don't want to do that. So, like I said, last night I was thinking about this because the feelings that come with these really keep us stuck. They really do. And it's usually those feelings of fear, anxiety, nervousness, and having that overwhelm come into play. And that will really keep you stuck. It really will. So I was thinking, like, how am I supposed to get past this, right? So for my husband and I trying to have a kid, and I am super scared beyond belief of actually have it happen. And when it does, not be so scared beyond belief about having another miscarriage. How am I supposed to get past this? And I had to break it up in little steps, because I had to be okay with living in the moment and not obsessing about the future. And that is such a huge thing, because I did that when it came to breaking free from food obsession, because I was always not living in the moment, right? Like, I didn't want to. I was constantly worried about my past, and more obsessively worried about my future and what that was going to hold if I were to eat the things that I wanted to eat. And that is so true, to be able to feel the things that you want to feel and be okay with it. Like, you're gonna get sad. You're going to get upset. You're going to get mad, but you're going to be happy. You're going to be joyful. You're going to show yourself some kindness and some compassion. And amazing things happen when you allow yourself to feel. They really do. And I've always been nervous about that kind of thing. And obviously I've gotten over it, except like yesterday, I could tell. I could tell in my mind that there was a release that wanted to happen, but I was so scared shitless of doing it, because the feelings of sadness were just so overwhelming. But I just had to feel them. I had to feel them. I had to have the good cry. I had to just get it out. And then I had a release, and I was able to relax, and I was able to just breathe. And then everything sort of had way more clarity to it, because I could actually see past the emotion, so to speak, and actually see it for what it is. And that is huge. So I wanted to just sort of briefly talk about this, because I was experiencing it yesterday, and I know feelings are a huge component in all of this, and it's hard sometimes to move past that and be able to actually feel when we're so used to not, and we're so used to suppressing, avoiding, and all of that fun stuff. So I wanted to bring this to your attention, because it's okay to feel. It's okay to have those feelings, be sad, be angry, be upset, be frustrated, be disappointed, but at the same time be happy, be joyful, like be excited about this kind of thing, because there's so much in life out there for you to experience, and not be sort of stuck in your mind when it comes to food. It really is. So this sort of brings into another thing. I am so excited, because starting in January, I am going to be doing a masterclass, a 4-week masterclass on finding freedom from binge eating. I'm so excited to do this. It's going to be a group session. in the sense, or a group class in the sense that each week we're having a group session. So they would be video sessions, and we really dive into sort of the main contributing factors when it comes to binge eating and how to break free from it, right? And a lot of mindset work in that too, and really jumpstarting sort of your journey into finding freedom from binge eating. And it's like so exciting for me to do this. I love, the clients that I work with having that one-on-one connection, but at the same time, it is very sort of therapeutic and necessary to sort of have these group relationships and be able to be around like-minded women and understand that you're not alone, and you can really learn from them. You can really get inspiration from everyone else's story. So I wanted to do this, and I am doing this. So if this at all is interested in for you, please let me know. I'm going to be talking about it more this week. There's going to be a pre-holiday registration, and that is going to be due with the cost as well before, Christmas Eve, December 24th. So it's due by the 23rd. And then after that, you can, by all means, still continue to register and join for it starting in January, but the cost does go up after the holidays. So I wanted to tell you about it. I'll be doing more an in-depth video tomorrow about it, but I wanted to just touch base with it now because it's exciting. I'm so excited to do it because I can't wait to really get to know, the women who are going to be in this sort of masterclass and be able to help them, and at the same time sort of see everyone in this transformational journey, because it really is when you can really break free from this and understand that it has nothing to do with food. It really doesn't. And it has everything to do with you. And you have had it all along to be able to break free from this. A lot of times we just need that little bit of extra help, support, guidance, inspiration to really, really break free from it. So if this interests you, you can always personal message me on Facebook. I'd love to tell you more about it, answer any questions. At the same time, you can always comment below in the videos as well. But, the sun. I just get distracted by the sun. And I try to have decent lighting, right? So you can at least see me. But at the same time, with the glasses that I have, there's always a reflection. You just can't win. You just have to go with the flow, right? So, like I said, today I really wanted to talk about feelings because they are super important to actually feel the things you're feeling, because all of your actions and things that you do are going to be based off of your feelings and the thoughts that come with it. So the thoughts are always going to be first, the feelings are second, but those two really are hand in hand. And understanding where they're coming from and truly knowing what to do about it is key, right? So like I said, feel the feels, right? Even if it's not ideal in your mind, feel it, because then you can actually move on from it. If you don't, you keep it stuck. It's going to stay in there. It's going to cause a lot of anxiety. It's going to even cause more overwhelm. And it's very unbearable. It really is. I was holding that pent up sadness all day yesterday. And it literally was when my husband tucked me into bed. I know that sounds weird, but he goes to bed later than I do. It just came out the moment he shut the door. It really did. It just came out. And I don't know why I couldn't have done that in front of him, but I almost just wanted to be able to experience that on my own, because it was very individualized for me, and I just had to be able to feel it and sort of feel safe feeling it too, right? Because a lot of times we can sort of move past that and not want to in sort of social settings or whatever, don't know what's going to happen. So I just felt safe in that moment and I let it out, and it was such a release, and it was an amazing thing. And I got huge clarity on it. I understood exactly what was happening, and I was able to move on. Right? So if any of this resonates with you, if you have a hard time feeling, or if you find that you tend to use food to feel or avoid feeling, let me know. Let me know in the comments below, reach out to me, and all of that. So, it's Monday. Everyone hates Mondays, I would say. Actually, that's a really broad statement. I shouldn't say everyone hates. Mondays, but they can be sometimes daunting, right? Because you had fun on the weekend, you go back to work on Monday, and then you're like, but every day is a new day. Every day has amazing things in store for it. And that's how I treat Mondays. So I'd love to hear from you. Like I said, I will be talking more about my masterclass as well, coming up, especially tomorrow. But in the meantime, let me know if you have questions, alrighty? And enjoy the rest of your Monday.